is August 11th. It's Thursday. It's Tim and Jayme.
It is. Happy post-hump
Apocalyptic day.
Post-hump day.
Mad Tim, the movie. The sequel coming soon.
I hope everybody had some water, extra water for post-hump day, and you're focused and ready to move into a smashing weekend.
Smashing. You sure you're not from London and disguising your accent?
No, darling, I'm not.
Yeah, I see.
We're all from England, right?
No. I believe we're actually from the merged continents. When the plates formed during the shift, and so I don't really know where we're from. It's like if 3 cruise ships all smashed together and everyone's on the deck, and we go all fly into each other's boat. Who really knows where they originated, right?
That's true. So now you make me feel like I come from a blender.
A blender? We're all must. It doesn't really matter. I mean, probably if you could take all the raping and pillaging out of history, then maybe we would be more pure. But we're all mutts.
Well, that's true. That's true. Have you ever done one of those DNA tests to see what your blood says about you?
Yep,
it
said not human. Please do not resubmit.
Well, I could have told you that without you spending the money.
It was a 50% off sale.
I gotcha.
Okay. So,
okay, well, now you have a certificate that is official, so
I have many certificates
that
validate my insanity.
Something to show the grandkids when they get older.
I have a lot to show the grandkids. I'm all over the internet. Depends on the keyword.
Oh, dear Lord. I will pray for your grandchildren.
They could use all the help they can get.
Can't we all?
Now, you were telling me yesterday that you made homemade laundry soap.
I did. It is like I'm a pioneer woman now.
Just like it.
Well, I always
You bathe every day, though, so not really.
No. Yes, I'm a pioneer woman in certain things, but I'm a modern woman in others.
You're a pioneeress. Like a lioness.
No, I'm more,
Okay.
more that kind of. But I don't want to be a cat. Ugh, cats. Ugh. Anyways.
Always licking their own butts.
They just think they own everything.
Though, if we were given the flexibility, who knows what humans would really be into.
Ooh, I don't want to think about that.
No, laundry soap.
Let's talk about clean thoughts, like homemade laundry soap. Well, it's expensive, and it's even more and more expensive, and I don't feel like going the lye and soap washboard way. So I came across this recipe that is supposed to cost about $20 and last for a whole year.
Okay.
Well, this probably came out several years ago, so it cost about $25 for all the ingredients. But it's going to last me several months, not a whole year. But it's going to last me several months, and it's the only cleaner that I've been able to use. My son works in the kitchen at Olive Garden, and it's the only thing I've found that can pull the grease and grime of that kitchen out of his clothes and make them baby soft.
You still wash his clothes?
Well,
how old is he?
He just turned 20.
Oh, he's still a baby.
Let me just tell you, he lives with his dad. Their dryer broke down.
I know that feeling.
The dryer hasn't been replaced.
We know that feeling.
Mommy drives over and picks up his clothes and washes them and then delivers them the next day with lunch because I'm a good mom and an overachiever.
Dear Lord.
But anyways, the laundry soap's good. Teresa's been using it.
What?
I gave Teresa some to try. How have you recognized your T-shirts to be more superior?
Yeah, it does smell fresh without that scented, I'm going to sneeze kind of quality.
Right. You don't smell like lavender and cigarettes. Or butts. What'd you say, butts?
I smell like butts. I like big butts in my laundry detergent can.
Well, I'm just going to give you the quick rundown of the laundry list. The laundry list. Ain't that funny?
Funny.
But you take borax, washing soda, baking soda, OxyClean, fabric softener crystals, which we affectionately refer to as laundry sprinkles. Isn't that cute? And then Dr. Bronner's Castile bar soap that you actually shred or grate to break it down. I chose peppermint because why not? And that's it. You mix them all together. 2 tablespoons for a heavy soiled, but I think I put 3 just because Again, I'm an overachiever.
Okay, so the ingredients are about $25, and you figure it'll last you a couple months.
I'm going to say what I've got is going to last me at least 4 to 6 months. And I didn't have enough container to make a double batch, so I've got enough ingredients to do it all over again, and I made enough for myself and my neighbor.
Ooh-wee.
So I think it's worth it. It smells nice. It does better. It's superior to any pod or liquid that I've ever used, and I've been washing clothes for several decades now.
Awesome. And for you idiot children out there, don't snort it. You know
Nope.
what? We do got to start learning how to make toothpaste. If there is ever a supply chain problem, issue, toothpaste.
Well, people do baking soda all the time.
And
but
peroxide.
Good Lord.
It's actually kind of tingly on the gums.
It's gross is what
Grossky?
it is. It's
It
grody.
looks like you're frothing, like you're a
the
rabbit dog.
taste, it's just
You know what? Yeah, but it reminds me of rock, okay?
rock. Oh, like the gravel out front? That's what that tastes like?
Yeah, a little bit.
Baking soda?
Kinda, yeah, because you cut it with it.
Oh, so
I know.
You were
I'm
way
doing
out of my
I'm doing a
element.
drug thing. I shouldn't be doing that.
no,
It
you're
was just
not.
a crazy time in my life, and I was with somebody that was doing it, and I'm like, and I tried it, and I didn't like it. It made me too hyper.
Really?
Well, I'm hyper to begin with. Could you
That's
imagine me
true.
on that?
But you
I
would
thought
think
my
it
head
would
was gonna, my heart was
counterproduce.
going to explode.
But don't you get uppity when you're on Benadryl?
No, Benadryl has I was prescribed Cymbalta, which is a psychosis medicine, but I was prescribed it for my back pain.
Mm-hmm.
His same doctor had me on Chantix for quitting smoking at the same time,
Oh, my
and I was taking
gosh.
Benadryl, so I was chemically altered. So I can't take any more than a half a Benadryl every 2 or 3 days, or I get paranoid. It feels like the world's going to come to an end. And
Wow.
I'm ready to explode. You just don't notice it.
No, you fake it real
That's
darn
right.
good,
I can fake
Tim.
it real good. Should have been a woman.
What?
What?
Wait a minute. What?
Well,
Men do too. I'm sure men can fake it.
well, not really, not unless there's egg whites
I mean, you can't
involved.
hide it,
No.
but you know.
Anyway,
Any whoosies. Let's think more clean thoughts. So I would say yes, homemade laundry soap.
that's
It's a
the way to go. Next, toothpastey. That's not peroxide and baking powder.
Yeah, the
It's-
hunt is on.
I think it should be maybe Mr. Clean and toe callus scrapings
well, if you
to get the grittiness and you really get the teeth clean.
well, don't you see the people in Survivor always scraping
No.
their? Okay, they always scrape their teeth with bark. But if you ask my grandma, but you can't because she's moved on. But
What, to like
if you
another
ask
state?
any grandma, they just use soap that they wash your mouth out with because you back talked.
Well, Teresa's a grandma. You think
Mm-hmm.
she'd be aware of this?
Yes, because she comes from a decade where parents probably did that
Oh.
on the regular.
Anyway, there's a plate in the middle of the table. Where did it come from?
It came from your house over to my house, back to your house.
Oh, because I thought maybe you were gaslighting me.
And what exactly is that? I mean, I see that all over, but I don't care enough to look into it. But now I can't get away from it, so please educate me, Timothy.
Well, gaslighting wasn't something I learned in school. I learned it from a movie. It was a classic black and white movie. I watched it with my mom one day. So because like today's children, let's take a 10-year-old.
Okay.
Nothing but video games, TV,
Yep.
idiocy on TV,
Yep.
weird booping games. You go beep, beep, boop, boop, beep, beep,
YouTube.
boop. Whatever, the boob tube, yes. It used to be that means the boob tube. Now it means YouTube
Yep.
is the boob tube.
Yep.
But what was I talking about?
Gaslighting.
Oh, yeah. So this whole movie was about a husband who was trying to make his wife think she was insane.
Ah.
So he would do all kinds of stuff. It wasn't just one specific thing.
Okay.
So, like, say that plate there, I go, where the heck did it come from? Because I know it's not there, it wasn't
Uh-huh.
there. And you go, I don't know.
But I did know.
You do. And then that makes her think, wow, how did I miss that and how did it get there?
Okay, I've seen a movie like that
right.
before.
So you do that on a constant basis, the person starts doubting their mind.
That's horrible.
It
That's like putting antifreeze in their drink.
Nothing like
But
it.
on a mental level.
Well, I'm gaslighting you. You're dying. It's not going to work because you're dead. All right, never mind. We gas chambered. We didn't gaslight.
Poisonous. It's still poisonous. You're just going to be cleaner.
So let's talk about favorite places we've gone and places where we want to go.
Yeah, now that traveling's opening back up, although I would not get on a plane anytime soon.
You're not the only one. A lot of the, I think who was that? Maybe Hannity. I listen to Hannity on radio. And I think it was him saying, was talking about the airlines. And then he was like, me? I'm not getting on an airplane.
No.
Yeah, it's crazy up there.
Well, people are crazy.
Yeah.
And they're going up there in a new crazy state.
Yes.
But then it doesn't seem like anybody knows what's going on. There's cancellations and da-da-da. I just drive.
And the thing that scares me the most about air travel right now is they're having a pilot shortage.
Oh, no.
And now I know the reason why they had a pilot shortage, because they let a lot of near retiring, they gave them early pension packages because of the pandemic shutting everything down, so they had to blow out some cash and not have salaries to pay. So now it's biting them in the ass.
Butt. Yeah.
So if you're not finding pilots, how desperate are you? Are you going to put a crop duster up there, like in Independence Day?
Yeah.
He did save the world, though.
Look, they'll go back to World War II, and you contribute.
It was like Denzel Washington in that movie, I think it was called Airplane, where he was drunk and he flew the plane upside down to save the people.
Airplane with the exclamation point?
No, it was flight, drunken flying guy.
Oh,
I don't remember the name of the
know.
movie.
I didn't watch
We'll
that.
call it Denzel Flies Drunk.
Denzel Flies Drunk.
Yeah.
It was based on a true story, right?
Yes.
Okay. It's not the Hudson River guy. That was Tom Hanks. He did that movie.
Huh?
Tom Hanks did a movie about the pilot who landed the plane on the Hudson River.
Oh, that must have happened after my hatred for him. So I haven't watched anything since, and
I don't yet know your Tom Hanks hatred timeline, so I can't say where you would fall on that.
it was basically when he came up on, Epstein's list of island travelers, and when all before this big left push, it was still frowned upon, and him and his wife thought maybe they might get exposed. So they actually moved to Greece. Then when it all blew over and the left took control, he's back. Not unnoticed by a nutbag like me.
Nope. But you're educating the people.
But on the topic of places that we've gone and places you want to go, I guess it's all different now.
That's true. So let's talk pre-COVID, when everything was happy and shiny. What was, to date, the most favorite place you've ever traveled to?
Favorite place or favorite overall experience?
I don't care. Favorite whatever.
Well, I guess my favorite overall experience would be Tim, Bill, and Ernie's Disney Adventure, 1989.
What?
I have it on VHS.
Where's it at?
It's on VHS.
No, where in the world?
What?
Where in the country was it located at?
Disney.
In?
Florida.
Okay, there you go.
Everyone knows that.
Well, there's California.
No, that's Disneyland. I'm done. Disney World.
I'm not versed
Who
in
wants
the
to go
world
to
of
a land
Disney.
when you can go to the world?
That's kind of true.
But we had a good time. I was single, and I was with two guys that made me look like I was a stud. And, I won a freestyle dance contest.
What?
And we were, dinner for two on the girl who entered with me. We kind of hit it off. But the night of the contest was we were leaving the next day, and what I won was this all expense paid, like dinner and drinks on the ferry boat restaurant. I forget the name of it. I couldn't use it.
Aww.
Story of my life. Timmy come lately, or not at all.
What would have happened to Timothy if he would have stayed and went on the?
Well, it's like any choice you make in life. You go left, it changes everything. You go right, it could have been a whole new experience.
That's true.
So you can't cry over spilled anything.
So tell me, where the most favorite place you've ever traveled to?
Probably, shoot, what was the name of that place? Not Gettysburg. It's not coming to me. It's a suburb of, anyway.
Can you give me a
Tennessee.
state? Okay.
We went freestyle water rafting up in Tennessee.
You did? I've always wanted to do that.
Gatlinburg.
Gatlinburg. Okay, I've heard good
We weren't
things.
supposed to. There's a whitewater rafting. It's all up the mountains, and there's its own rapids everywhere that aren't really open to the public.
Okay.
That's where we went.
Ah.
And we went on a heavy-duty 4-person raft down the crazy rapids. We had to get out and walk over rocks carrying it and then get back into the water.
Oh, gosh.
And we said we would do it till the raft was no more. Eventually, it would be torn up by rocks.
Wow.
And, you know, we see rocks, we get out, we stop it, we fall in, whatever. I was with my son Brian, and he's like, what was the nature guy that got stung by the jellyfish and died?
Oh, come on. Give me. You
Irwin,
keep on
Steve
talking.
Irwin.
Steve Irwin. Was it a jellyfish or was
worshipped
it a
Stingray.
stingray?
But he worshipped that guy, and he was adventurous. He would jump right into the water. He went after a snake that he saw. He handled snakes since he was like 12 years old.
What?
Still does. He's up in PA. He's always in rocks and snakes and frogs, and he works in pet stores and builds fish aquariums and
does what he loves.
Mhm.
Good for him.
Yep. Obviously, I'm not on that list, but and to boot, this would have been in my mid-40s, and I was seeing a 23-year-old girl, and she was drunk in the raft. So what made it more challenging was her drunk in the raft.
You think?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Lord.
That was fun. So about 2 hours in, that raft, we lost the raft.
Well, it's kind of
Then we
you
had
probably
to-
wore out by then.
Well, it turns out we went over 3 miles,
Wow.
which is a long way in rapids and rocks and getting out and stopping and starting and going fast and then not going anywhere at all.
Well, it's like taking an older person on a road trip.
Yep.
Many, 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 many stops
Yes.
to your destination.
Hmm. Our day will come.
But probably not as fun as whitewater rafting. So is there anywhere you would like to visit one day?
Well, you know what? Everything's changed for me. At first, I mean, I'd like to go to Ireland.
Yes, you would.
And I like to go to Japan. I've always respected the Japanese culture.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, in martial arts, I gained an interest in the history of the Japanese.
Sure.
Very honorable people. Not always sane by American standards, but needless to say, dedicated, loyal, honest, and honorable. So it's that always interested me. But I think now, believe it or not, I'd just like to get an RV and maybe travel all the things in America that I've never seen.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's so
don't have to get on a
much.
plane to do it.
You better go hurry up and get to Yellowstone before Old Faithful takes us all out.
Well, I don't know. Are we close enough to die from?
The fallout's supposed to be horrid. But
Yeah.
I have gone to Yellowstone. It's actually a surprise trip for me. Dale planned it all, and I didn't know where I was going until I got to the airport.
Oh, that's funny.
It was awesome. It was awesome. So I'm trying to give him a surprise trip next weekend to Roanoke. It's no Yellowstone, people.
Roanoke, what?
Virginia.
Oh, okay.
But I've got a family reunion in West Virginia, which is a little bit away from there, and the draw in Roanoke is the Black Dog Salvage. You ever heard of them?
No.
They used to have a show on Discovery, TLC, one of those feel-good things. They go to old properties, historical properties that are about to be torn down, and salvage whatever they can and resell it or repurpose it.
Oh, there's several shows.
There's
like
plenty
that.
shows
Yeah,
like
I
that.
watched one for a while, but I can't remember what it was called. Where they just show up at garage sales, or they'd make pre-arrangements with some kind of collectible
American
hoarder.
Pickers.
That's it.
That's it.
They even came here to North Carolina.
Well, I think Black Dog Salvage is one of the original ones of those shows.
Gotcha.
Because I had never seen any company do that before. But I mean, they'll take it down to the studs if they think they can make $1 off of it.
That's
so.
funny. Well, how about you?
Pretty
Where's
cool.
your favorite place you've gone?
Oh, easily Ireland.
Dang it, girl.
Right place, right time.
I've given up my life to raising other humans, so it would seem.
Right,
so
right.
I'm not going to look back and go, wow, yeah, I did absolutely nothing. I'm a loser.
Right. I never traveled nowhere, but you contributed to
The delinquency of
That's
minors,
right,
I've been
two
doing that for
people.
nearly 30 years, and I'm good at it.
and why would you give that up for anywhere?
I know,
So.
whatever.
Ireland is beautiful. I think it's one of God's favorite places on earth. I think that's what heaven's going to look like, and it's way more affordable than you think. We did 15 days in Ireland, round trip airfare, staying in Airbnbs. Yes. $5,000 for 2 people.
It's not bad.
Very manageable. The food's so rich, you eat once a day. When you go in the springtime, the sun doesn't go down till 10 or 11 o'clock at night.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I do like that.
Yeah, you can get more done.
That's right. I'd still be out mowing some Irishman's lawn. They're like, get off my John Deere, you like
Right?
pecan.
The Lord is just giving them a little extra daylight to get home after pub hours.
Exactly.
But
So where you want to go?
Where do I want to go? See, I don't know that I would care to travel anywhere else overseas except maybe Scotland. But I go back to Ireland before anywhere else. I was this close to going to Australia once, but it didn't work out. But that's okay. I don't feel like I lost out except on a...
I have an open invite to Australia, but I have no interest in getting on an airplane. And
not
going
that long.
9,980
Not
miles.
that long.
No.
I think I'm like you. I would just like to travel. We've got so much here to offer in the U.S. of A.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
maybe there's an excuse when you're old and you didn't get to Ireland, but what's your excuse when it's here in your own country?
Right. Why are you... Right. That's true. I will tell you, one of my favorite places I visited was Wyoming. Cody, Wyoming, home of Buffalo Bill.
Ooh.
That was just one of those places you go to that you feel like you're somewhere different, not just the same old, same old.
Gotcha.
So, Wyoming, you got a big thumbs up from me, buds.
Ooh, I like when she talks like that.
Buds.
So we lost a couple of my friends this
I heard. I'm
week.
so sorry. They were very upstanding gentlemen, I understand. Big contributors to the community.
Well, Percy Bunch I didn't know as well as I did Brinson Paul. Percy and his son Michael. Percy owns the watermelon farms.
Mm-hmm.
Helped found the Watermelon Festival.
Yep.
For a while, his farm was the watermelon supplier for the president.
Really?
Mhm.
Wow.
Yep, that was the claim to fame. But Percy's part of the old guard
Uh-huh.
that kind of had a positive look on the town.
Okay.
There's people in the town that don't want no change, and they'll fight against it in any way they can.
Sure. And that's in every town.
Or people like Percy or Brinson who didn't care I was from the north. You're going to try to do what here? Great. I wish you luck. That's
Right,
great. That
right.
sounds great. We could use it in our town.
Embraced you as part of the community.
Correct.
Immediately instead of earning your way in.
I did a column and pictorial spread for the newspaper where I interviewed Percy down at the landing over here. It's really King's Landing.
Yes.
Is actually an area of the river.
Oh, okay.
What it would be is when the big ships would come in,
Uh-huh.
right there was the furthest they could go because it would get too shallow.
Gotcha.
Then they would turn around and go back out to sea.
Okay.
King's Landing. And that area has been cleared of an old mill or some kind of commercial building
Mm-hmm.
with the plan of utilizing it. But you can't get the money,
Sure.
then it just is what it is. It fell apart. Brinson Paul, however, I knew him very well. Him and Colin Balance and some other men of the town wooed a gentleman named Brady C. Jeffcoat.
Mm-hmm.
The man was a historical collector hoarder
Yes, that would be a good word for it.
because the Jeffcoat Museum here in Murfreesboro could easily be in a giant city. Could be in New York,
Sure,
could be in California,
yeah.
anywhere. And it was here because Mr. Jeffcoat, when he was getting near that time, he decided to give his lifetime collection to somebody. He wanted to make sure that collection went to somebody that would love it,
Yeah.
display it, keep it clean.
Yep.
And if you've never been to the Jeffcoat Museum, it is immaculate. It's a 3-story high school that was all converted into a museum.
That's so cool.
Have you been in there?
Not yet.
You're missing out. And so is Dale, knowing how much he loves that
What
kind
are
of
the
stuff.
what are the hours
They're
there?
weekends.
They're weekends.
Saturday, Sunday. I built their website, but I haven't had to update it in so long. I don't remember the hours. Just go to thejeffcoatmuseum.com or click on Facebook. The hours are in there.
Okay.
But it's well worth it. You could get lost in there for 4 or 5 hours and not see half of what's in there.
I love those kind of things.
My favorite thing that they have in there, a doggy-powered washing machine.
What?
I remember asking Brinson. I was in there with Brinson Paul for 3 hours getting pictures, understanding what I'm seeing so I could build the website.
Right.
And I was in that museum by myself for hours. And but yeah, they have a doggy-powered washing machine. I'm like, Brinson, what in the heck is that? He goes, well, they would leash their dog right there, and they would put him on it, and the dog would walk on the treadmill, turning the wooden bucket. Human innovation.
Look, and there we go.
Before electricity.
See? Now we just got to find that darn toothpaste.
We'll be all set for the apocalypse.
Yep.
So, yeah, Murfreesboro lost a lot of good people. And these aren't the only two. We've lost others.
Yes, they're
Hugh
just
Vincent,
the most recent.
Hugh
Yeah.
Vincent died maybe about a month ago. He was just a good guy. Him and Janet. You'll see Janet if you've ever been to the historic district when they do the Candlelight Christmas. The Potta Casey band, string band, plays in the barn in the blacksmith right there.
Yeah.
And they play functions. They play the mandolins and the wooden things. I don't even know what they're called. And they make beautiful music. And that was Hugh's wife. And
Gotcha.
he was also a good guy. So, yep.
You will be missed.
So, what have you been watching?
Well, we're kind of in between stuff right now. We have been watching the morning show on Apple TV.
What?
It's feels to me like it's following the story of what's his name that got kicked off of the Today Show.
Who?
Matt Lauer.
Oh, I thought it was that Strahan guy with the gap in his teeth.
No, I think it's following Matt Lauer's kind of story.
Matt Lauer?
Yeah, from the Today Show.
Today Show.
Where this whole sexual harassment and all the complaints from women from years and years and years.
Vaguely familiar.
All right. It's kind of following that kind of storyline. Anyways, twists and turns. I'm not a big fan of Reese Witherspoon in this show. I don't feel...
What? She's in the show?
She's in the show.
Is it a show or is it actual
It's a
show with live people?
No, it's a show about a morning show.
Oh. Huh.
Da-dum. But I don't,
Reese Legally Blonde was her last great role.
She's hit or miss for me. I don't think she's great in everything she does.
She's no Anna Faris.
It's kind of like the same feelings I get when I watch Drew Barrymore. It's just few and far in between things that I like.
I liked her a lot in Firestarter, but not really anything since.
E.T.
E.T., she was cute in E.T. Wasn't she Kramer versus Kramer child?
No.
Who was Jodie Foster?
No, I don't know if we know who the little boy was.
No, it was a girl, wasn't it?
No,
in
it was a
Kramer
little boy.
versus Kramer?
It was a little boy.
I want a divorce.
That was a tough movie, though.
About what?
Divorce.
Oh.
Ooh.
I've had easy divorces, hard marriages.
I hear you. Well, haven't we all? No. No. But that's about all. Oh, we're watching The Big Bang Theory. Because we need something silly and fun and mindless, and that fills the void pretty good. And we've watched all the weird shows that Netflix have to offer. Because I'll be honest with you, once you hit a certain time of night with your gummies on board, you just want to laugh. And The Big Bang Theory, have you ever watched it?
I told you, I watched every single show up until about 5 from the end of the season, from its finale. because of, personal reasons.
Right. Well, that show was funny from the very first episode.
Oh,
Some
I know.
shows,
I love Big Bang.
you have
I just
to.
don't like the actors.
I know. They're on the list, people.
Well, they call us names. They're rude to us.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. What you watching?
Ooh, I'm watching a killer-ass show, one of the best shows I've seen in a long time, called Terminal List. In fact, it's one of the top 3 shows in the nation.
Terminal List?
And you want to hear what's funny, ironic? With all this anti-America stuff going on, the top 3 draw shows in America are the new Top Gun, patriotic, Terminal List, patriotic, Yellowstone, patriotic.
Okay.
Tells you where to go shove your anti-America stuff.
Right. Well, I think there's a surge of patriotism afoot.
Now, when I just want nothing that I sometimes, a lot of times at night, I'll put on something I could care less if I'm watching it or not because I've seen it before.
You couldn't care less. If you could care less, you could care less a little bit more. But if you couldn't care less, you're at the bottom of the barrel.
Really? How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could bleep chuck?
I'm just saying, I'm going to call you out every time you do it.
Doesn't mean you're right.
It totally means I'm right.
No, it doesn't.
On this one, I am.
I don't know.
I am.
I actually have to go back and listen to the podcast of this broadcast to know if if it really has right content or not, or context.
There's only one context.
Yeah, no, not necessarily.
Don't fight me on this. English is the only subject I was good at in school.
Okay.
You got history, you got science, you got math.
Oh, you're book Englishing me. See, having
I'm
having
book
been published
Englishing
in
him.
magazines,
That's not
hundreds
dirty
of
people.
columns. That's that's creative writing. It's different.
Well, I think for me, I'm automatically proofreader.
Plus,
Whatever I read, whatever medium it's on, I can pick out grammatical errors.
I don't speak how I write.
Well, none of us do, really. Well, to a certain degree.
Well, the Watermelon Festival.
Wasn't that fun? It was like twice as big as last year, I thought. More vendors, more people. No? It just felt more people-y?
I have no idea. It depends on what side you were on, but I was very disappointed because they brought in a different Carney crew. So there was only maybe a 30%, 40% of the rides there were last year. There was no rides. There were no games.
There were no games?
No. There was no
There
games.
were twice as many local
Did you not
vendors,
walk the
though.
fairway?
I didn't walk through the rides and that. I was over
There
at
was
the-
nothing there. We went on Wednesday night, and when I left there, I was thinking, okay, maybe they didn't bring all the rides yet, or the games were coming. Out of, let me see, I think there was 10 rides only, and 2 of them were broken on that first night. There wasn't no one manning, so you just waited in line. There was only 1 ticket booth open, not 2 or 3 like before.
I see.
They raised the prices of the tickets.
Sure.
And they lowered the quality of the rides. One guy looked like a heroin addict. I had to shove the tickets in his hand.
Welcome to our new normal.
So I think the Watermelon Festival needs to stick a fork in it and do away with the rides.
Or, commit excellently, or don't make it a side thought.
The problem here in Murfreesboro is I've offered to help them redesign their Candlelight Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
I've offered to help them. I've given them ideas about how to revamp the Watermelon Festival. Nothing. The only reason that the Historic Association took my money when I did the Historic Hunt in their, you don't know this, but I used to get 500 people into the historic district around Halloween.
Wow.
I'd have 30 to 40 volunteers, and we'd haunt that 4-block radius. This blacksmith, the tin shop, in the ag building. We scared people.
Oh, and people love that.
But I got no help. So I eventually brought it back to the Flanagan house and made it a fundraiser for us because that was his original plan.
Sure.
And then it was starting to build and COVID came. And now I will never start it again because people are not safe anymore.
Right, right.
You could be any political view going through my haunt, but you behaved yourself, you had fun, and you were respectful.
Right, right. But
Not
see,
any-
that's the new haunted house, is leaving your house.
Not anymore,
You know what
though.
I mean?
I
People
won't
are
do it.
just. Well, I understand. That's a major production.
The last haunt we did before the pandemic, I had this boy. He must have been 13, 14. He was in there, and he was acting like a little thug. And he kept, every time one of my crew would scare him, he'd be like, "I'm gonna effing shoot you. I'm gonna effing shoot somebody."
Oh gosh.
Well, I have my gun on me
Uh-huh.
because I need to be armed in case something happens out there.
Mm-hmm.
I actually had to get in front of this boy with dressed as a zombie with my hand on my gun, and I see him looking like this. He looks at my gun, and I said, "Listen, you act like a human being for the rest of the way through this, or we're going to have a problem." And he behaved. But
Just all talk.
yeah, but he could easily not been.
And that's the thing.
The biggest killers in this country are
don't know.
teenage boys.
You don't know if they're all talk or if they're all action.
Well, when in doubt, shoot first. If you're in fear for your life, but I mean, he was unarmed, obviously, and he was just talking a lot of crap. But I didn't know what he was, if he's armed or not. You know,
Right. Well,
12-year-olds kill people every day with
that's
guns.
true.
And illegally.
Ugh. So
Anyway,
come on down to the Watermelon Festival.
So I'm also watching Civil War.
Like the
Marvel.
old?
No, the Avengers.
Oh.
Captain America Civil War.
Oh, not the one with Patrick Swayze.
No.
Was that? No, that was North and South.
North and South, East, West. It was something
It was like
that.
a mini. Do you remember when they used to do mini
I did
series
enjoy
on
the Patriot.
TV?
Yes. Oh my God! What was Shogun? Rachel Ward was so cute.
Oh my gosh.
Yum yums. Yeah, and then Roots. Roots was a great miniseries.
Yeah.
That was a hell of a miniseries.
Yep. So many.
Can't think of any others though that I watched.
No, but you said The Patriot.
Yeah,
You finally watched that?
I watched The Patriot almost when it first came out years ago.
Okay, that's
talking
the
about
one
the
on
movie with-
Amazon, right? Or are you talking about the movie with?
Mel Gibson,
Oh.
where it's like the late 1700s or
Well,
something.
I think you
like-
would greatly enjoy The Patriot on Amazon.
I'm sure I would. I just haven't got to it yet. I do two things. There's the show I'm watching that I'm paying attention to. Shut up! I'm trying to relax.
Right.
And then there is like I put on the Avengers or Captain America
And
because
scroll.
I could care less.
Right. What?
Exactly.
You couldn't care less.
I couldn't care less.
There,
I
see?
could care less.
So you could care
But
less more.
I could.
Okay.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, I could easily care less more.
Okay. I'll
Or I
let
could
I'll let
care-
that one slide.
Well, I could care more, but less.
My head hurts a little bit.
It's the frequency of your caring.
Does Hallmark make a card for that?
No. So, but not everything was negative about the Watermelon Festival, though. I mean,
No. Well,
to me, it's divided.
they had more local vendors, so there was more small business supported. With not only that, there were more food trucks. So, the carnival games, it's really for the kids, and I get that, but at least they tried to keep the money in the community a little bit more.
That's why I'm not saying stick a fork in it. It's done. I'm saying stick a fork in the fairway.
I gotcha.
That's what brings in. That's why we have cops from all surrounding counties and departments there.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they have cops up in a hunter blind, because over the years there's been issues, and it's just a matter of time before something really serious happens.
Right.
So why not take that out of the mix? It's sort of like at Weldon Mills, right? We did away with having live music. Why did we do that? Drunken people falling into the
People can't
band.
handle their music
People
and their
kicking
alcohol.
in the bathroom door, getting in fights.
It's alcohol.
Right. Well, it's stupidity.
Well, that's true. Fueled by alcohol,
It could
which
be fueled
makes
by
it
anything
even worse.
but alcohol, yes.
Use.
But I say do away with it. I say bring where they have the bands, right there on Broad. I say make that a main stage for all the events. Like they have the Little Princess.
Yeah.
And other things happening over with the food, near the food vendors, right there, across from the fairway. It gets too crowded there if there's a crowd, or people don't even know where it is or find it. Bring everything to that stage.
Right, because everybody is drawn towards the lights and the shiny.
Mm-hmm. And you can have, I would say, bring in games, but not rides. And I'm not talking about these carny barkers that annoy everybody.
Right.
Just bring in games.
Well, that's something the town could do.
Right, like the machine where you throw the ball and somebody falls in the water.
That's the best. The dunk tank.
You could do a pie throwing like in Greece. I mean, there's
Absolutely.
a million things that you could do to
Absolutely.
make it fun and make it more of a watermelon heritage festival than rides.
That's true. That
And
just gets them in the door.
the other thing it would do is if you took the rides out of the mix, you would be able to shift the watermelon festival back a pinch or up a pinch. If you can move the watermelon festival up closer to all the stores on Main Street,
Mm-hmm.
then they would get added value.
But there's not much draw on Main Street right now.
No, I'm not talking about Main Street. I'm talking about if the Watermelon Festival was nudged up to the next block, closer
Mm-hmm.
to Main Street, then and the parking was on the flip side.
Right.
It would probably promote more walking up and down Main Street.
I see what
than
you're
people
saying.
coming in from all the side
Different
streets.
angles.
Right.
Well, more controlled crowd.
Right.
Well, I think you just said Watermelon Festival like 800 times.
NC Fest, watermelon.
No. But I did get a free
2022.
watermelon. They were
Oh.
giving them away.
Well, they do that every Watermelon Fest.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
I got my first free watermelon. It was pretty good.
Yeah,
Pretty
probably
good.
Debbie gave it to you.
I have no clue.
She's a little older than me. Kind of always dresses nice. She dresses up in 1800s dresses when she's
Not
over in
from
the
her.
country store. Okay, fine. But
Okay, fine.
now you had a topic you wanted to talk about,
Well-
70s clothing.
It's funny because we're both approaching it from different angles.
What do you
You
mean?
lived through it when it was the original trend.
Well, yeah.
And I was born in 75, so I really couldn't hop on I was advanced child, but not that advanced.
Well, we
But
do
now it's
see
coming
it.
back and in a big way, and I used to hate it. Bell bottoms, especially the elephant flares, are hideous. But other than that piece of clothing, it's all kind of grown on me.
Like a
I think
fungus.
it's groovy.
Well, I got to tell you, girls' butts in the 70s were better than girls' butts in the 80s because of the jeans.
I think
Like the butts in the 70s had nice pear shape, nice, and then all of a sudden in the 80s, every girl's butt looked square because of those weird pants they wore.
Well, for me, and this probably is going to sound horrible, not to you, of course, you're going to eat this up. Here, take that plate. You're going to need to eat that up.
Where did that come from?
I don't know.
Oh, God.
I don't know.
All right, fine.
It just
You don't have to push it
popped
down.
up.
All right, fine. I didn't put it there.
Anyways, I think women's boobs in the 70s were superior to now. They
Oh, with
all
that-
had different personalities, but it was all natural.
Yes. Yes.
I appreciate that.
I don't really find anything from the 90s on up surrounding women
No.
attractive. I
No.
mean, women had style in the
Oh, the
you go all the
40s.
way up
Don't
to the
get me
90s.
started.
Women had flair. It could have been the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, 50s, 60s,
No, don't
70s,
say 90.
80s.
Stop at 90.
Well, no,
It
80s,
went all sorts. Yeah,
80s
90
was
and
the
back.
last.
90 and back.
You mean
1990 and back.
You mean like so January 1st, 1990?
Correct.
From there on, it
then it just
sucked.
all went to
Yeah, I'm with you.
town. Nobody should wear anything since that time.
Yeah, music took a dive then too, and so did Tony and I talk about this a lot. The 80s was the platform for America to be the country we always wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
We all got along in the 80s. It didn't matter what color you were. If you listened to rap or country or rock, we all got along. We listened to each other's music. Nothing was...
Michael Jackson and Coke, classic, brought us all together.
Well, yeah, Billie Jean is not my mother.
That's not the line.
What is
But-
the line?
Not my lover.
Holy cow, that changes the whole meaning of the song to me. I didn't understand what it meant.
Go back-
Billie Jean is not my mother. I was looking up shit about his mother. and
That's
I'm
a
like,
whole show you can do right there. Misheard song lyrics. Oh my niece has the top one. I'm sorry, she does. She's 5, I think she was, and this Stone Temple Pilots song came on. Okay, I don't know the name of the song, but I could tell you the line. The line is supposed to be "Take time for a wounded hand."
Mhm.
Okay, take time
Take
for.
time for wounded. I know the song.
Okay, she said, "Oh, this is my favorite song. I love it." She's declaring it until she gets to the part she really knows. And then she just sings at the top of her lungs, "Tank top on a haunted ham."
It
fits.
It does, and I almost like it better. Who wants to grab a wounded hand?
Who would rather have a haunted ham?
Well, you might be able to eat it and then fart ghosts for a couple days.
I have yet to have anybody top that one for me.
Well, I'm going to take a
personally.
shot at it because how about this one? Hold Me Closer, Tiny Dancer.
Yep.
Hold Me Closer, Tony Danza.
Yep.
I'm Joe Dannon. Elton John song.
Mm-hmm.
It's I'm Still Standing. But I knew a guy named Joe Dannon, and it sounds like he's saying,
sure.
I'm Joe Dannon.
Well, I'll tell you one for Dale, and he can expound upon it, and it would sound a whole lot better than what I'm saying. But the Pink Floyd song, where there's no dark sarcasm in the classroom, he thought they were saying no Dukes of Hazzard in the classroom.
They're not?
He had an issue with Pink Floyd for a while because of that.
I thought that's what they said.
No Dukes of Hazzard in the classroom?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, when the song came out, Dukes of Hazzard was right there in its prime, right? What year was that? I think Dark Side of the Moon. No, okay, Dukes of Hazzard came later.
When I never understood lyrics as a kid, like in the 80s, I would still sing what I thought it was because my reasoning was, oh, well, they're an artist. They know what they're talking about. Doesn't matter if I do or not. It don't matter if no Dukes of Hazzard in the classroom makes sense to me. It makes sense to them. So I'll sing it and honor their...
I'm with you.
You know what I mean, yo?
I do, because Billie Jean is not my mother.
No, thank goodness for that.
So 70s clothing. My mom, I was always stressed out of date. See, you were too young, basically, in the 70s to really appreciate the 70s.
Yes.
I was not quite old enough. I would have liked to have been born in like 58. So I was teen and young adult in the 70s.
You wanted to be more young adult.
Right. Instead, in the 70s, I was 7 to 17.
Gotcha.
But
what a glorious time to be a kid.
Not really. Not for me.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I've missed eras. Like, I missed the 80s being in the Army.
Gotcha.
I didn't appreciate the 80s until later on.
Right.
Where I look back.
Until the 90s?
Yeah, until the 90s started, and I'm like, I don't like
then
this. Then
you appreciate the 20s.
All right.
Golly. So if you could pick any era to go back and relive as an adult now, what era would you choose?
Well, specify adult. You mean 18?
No.
And I start?
Right now.
You mean
your age now?
My age right now?
But let's just say your age right now, but you're at the prime of your life as if you were 24.
Oh, okay.
What decade would you like to live out the rest of your days in?
Oh, 80s. Definitely 80s. I could actually narrow it down probably to 1979 to 1984.
Wow.
Anyway.
That's very, very specific.
Well, to me, that's the best time in music, best time in concerts, movies I love the most.
Gotcha.
The world went from disco to punk to pop 80s style, and I would have had that blend.
Gotcha.
I was now back in the day, and because times were a little different, and especially driver's license didn't have pictures. So I was Lance Rogers. I was 26 years old.
Oh, and also the boobies.
The boobies, yes.
You
70s boobies are the best.
Yep. And then 80s, you could not have an 80s movie that did not contain boobs.
No, and I did appreciate that a lot. Then the 90s, I lost interest in boobs. I think it was Madonna with her cone boobs that did me in.
Well, when they're forced upon you, it becomes in a negative way. If you're seeking them out, that's different.
It is sort of like that Benny Hill episode where him and a whole bunch of beautiful women and other guys are at a nudist resort, and they're all talking, not paying a bit of attention to this hot naked girl. And then they're all dressed and they're heading out, after, and that same naked girl bends over with her skirt and hikes her skirt up a little, and they're like, oh yeah.
Oh gosh.
It's all a mindset.
Right. Well, I was not allowed to watch Benny Hill. That was dirty. I was also not allowed to read Cosmopolitan magazine. I've also not seen a lot of iconic 80s movies because they were dirty. For example, Purple Rain, big on the no list. So I still have yet to see it.
Are you sure you weren't
I
raised
didn't
by a
get to
Jehovah's
see.
Witness?
No, Southern Baptist.
Funny story. I'm guessing the year, but I'm probably not too far off. It was probably 1971 or 1972.
Mm-hmm.
My mom took me to a barber shop.
Okay.
Up until then, she always cut my hair.
Oh.
So she took me to a barber shop. Now
you're big
remember,
time.
she hasn't been in a barber shop probably, if ever. Or maybe when...
Sure, because that's not where women would go.
Especially you're talking about 60s and 50s and whatever.
Right. That was not the woman's place.
So we're sitting in this barber shop, and it's a typical barber shop, just like the one up the block here on Main Street. You know, we
have
guys,
like
we all
4.
talk. Huh?
There's like 4 of them.
And there's only one barber shop.
Okay.
The other ones might have like weird things on it and cut hair. There's only one barber shop.
Oh,
Bruce Pittman. That's the barber shop on Main Street in Murfreesboro.
Woo-hoo.
Tell Bruce Tim sent you. Unless you're asking for a wax, they don't do that. So I'm sitting there, right?
Yep.
And next to my mom, she's reading a Watchtower magazine, if you know what it is. It's Jehovah's Witness magazine.
Okay.
They were infamous for the Watchtower and Awake magazines. I'm
Okay.
surprised you didn't see them over the years or stuck in your doors. You know how you can tell it's cold outside? When you open the door and Jehovah's Witnesses are stuck to the screen.
Oh, yes. I've got plenty of pamphlets on how to get to heaven.
Okay, well, they're not pamphlets. They're actually, we're a monthly magazine called The Awake, a monthly magazine called The Watchtower. But
Are these the little booklets
No.
with the cartoons?
no, they're about the size of a comic book, but it's
Okay, I know what you're talking
it's
about.
like a book might have some pictures and illustrations, but lots of words.
All right, lots of
So
words.
she's reading her Jehovah's Witness stuff,
Uh-huh.
and I'm sitting there. I'm looking around. I'm in awe. I don't know what the hell. And I look over, and there was a Hustler magazine, whole bunch, Playboy, Penthouse, Hustler magazine.
Oh my
sitting there.
gosh.
It was the norm back in the day.
But why would you? That's what I don't get. Why would you want to look at that in front of other people?
I'm young. I don't know. I'm like, what? My mom saw that out of the corner of her eye, and she took it from me and slapped me in the face with it, and dragged me out of there.
You were done.
You
were home cut from now on.
Yep. She used to shave my legs all the way up until I was about 41, I think. Yeah.
That is so gross.
I know. Tell me about it.
Ugh. You're changing the 70s for me.
Oh, 70s. What? Oh, okay. No, we're still in the 70s. So, you.
Me? What about me?
Tube tops.
Nope. I can't pull them off.
Mm.
If you can pull them off, yeah.
Mm.
Now, there's so many different types of 70s, though. You've got the hippie 70s. You've got the disco 70s.
That was earlier 70s.
You've got the rock 70s. You've got the punk 70s. I mean, you cover a butt ton of stuff.
Well, think of the punk. The punk really didn't become popular in America until the crossover years, 79 to 80, 81.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's like the Ramones, Blondie, they all exploded on the scene. And like my favorite nightclubs I go to at 17 as Lance Rogers, 23 years old.
Lance Rogers.
I tell you, when I was 17, I had the nightlife.
Well, we're going to do a whole stint on that. You got stories, I can imagine.
I've got stories. I don't know if I'm going to share them. But I know what you're saying. But during that era you're talking about, hippies were earlier. Coming out of the 60s.
Coming out of the 60s.
Turned into like hippie rock, folk rock, then it kind of got a little bit bluesy, and then it turned into your hard rock explosion from like 1977 on.
Right.
Then you had pioneers like Kiss, Aerosmith, Black Sabbath started earlier. But I was the rocker guy.
Uh-huh.
I was the guy who listened to Van Halen in the parking lot of the disco, trying to pick up the girls that were coming out of the disco. In hindsight, I should have gone to the disco and left the rocker behind.
I got you.
The rocker was a little immature. The disco was more party.
Right. That makes sense.
In the 80s, it all merged together.
Yes, it did.
So, I like the 80s.
Well, I am very thankful for the 70s that they offered my favorite piece of clothing in almost the whole wide world.
The miniskirt?
Or of any era. One of the top 2, probably. That would be the high-waisted plaid polyester bell-bottoms. Men and women. That is the hottest piece of clothing on any person ever.
Not me. Take a 70s perky boob and put on one of those halter tops.
Oh, halter tops.
Sha.
But see, we're coming from different angles on this.
We
But
are.
yeah,
I like to come
I
in on
would-
a 40-degree angle and then straighten out completely.
I'm gonna look at your butt if it's in plaid pants. I'll put that out there.
Well, I did get to dance on a bar top in front of a live audience wearing a plaid miniskirt.
Nice.
I know,
No,
right? Bucket list.
plaid
Dancing the journey.
miniskirt and plaid bell bottoms are two different things, man.
Mm.
Ooh, don't forget the platform shoe.
Mm.
God love a good platform, man.
My 4th grade teacher, Mr. Lonigan, wore platform shoes.
Nice.
It must have been, what are they were like 3-4 inches. They were
Yeah.
pretty hot. And then what's funny is, 4th grade teacher, never saw him again, but I liked him. He was a teacher you remember.
Right.
He was just
okay.
kind and fun and wore platform shoes, and he was the same height we were. That's probably why I wore platform shoes. So I am in a club called Studio 6. It's a gay club on Snake Alley in Atlantic City.
Because you couldn't afford Studio 54.
There was no Studio 54. The place to go in AC, Studio 6. But a lot of straight people went there because it was open later, and if you had a girl that wanted to dance and the one club closes at 1, you could always head
Gotcha.
over to the Studio
All
6. It's going all
inclusive.
night.
Okay.
I bumped into Mr. Lonigan.
Ooh.
So I realized he's gayer than gay, and which is fine. I liked him. I'm like, Mr. Lonigan, hey man, how are you? He goes, good. I said, I was one of your students. He goes, I'm sure he doesn't remember me. I said,
Right.
I'm sure you don't remember me. I was like, what's your name? Like Tim Flanagan. He goes, oh yeah, I remember you. And I'm like, I don't think he remembers me.
Uh-huh.
You know, he starts to hit on me. And I turned to my buddy Bill, because Bill was in the same school with me in elementary school, and who knew who Mr. Lonigan was. I'm like, dude, isn't this awesome? I'm being hit on by Mr. Lonigan.
Oh my gosh. What a memory to carry around.
That's funny.
What?
I know, right?
That is kooky. That's funny.
It's totally kooky. Well, looks like we're out of time.
It went by so fast, Timothy.
I know, but guess what? Tim and Jamie and Tim, we'll be back again someday.
So lucky you people.